Hello students, happy morning. In today's class, let us solve the exercise 3.7 in the chapter pair of linear equations. So let us see the first question. The ages of two friends Ani and Biju differ by 3 years. The ages of two friends Ani and Biju differ by 3 years. Ani's father Dharam is twice as Ani and Biju is twice as old as his sister Kati. The ages of Kati and Dharam are differ by 30 years. Find the ages of Ani and Biju. So this is again a age related problem and they asked you to find the ages of Ani and Biju. They have given you some information. We need two equations based on these informations, right? So the first information is between the age of Ani and Biju directly. See, the ages of two friends Ani and Biju differ by 3 years and the question is to find the age of Ani and Biju. So how we will make our assumption from the question. So let the age of Ani be x and the age of Biju be y. They differ by 3 years. So we will write x minus y equal to 3. So we got our first equation. And the second information, if you see, the ages of Kathy and Dharam are differ. See, differ by 30 years. Now Kati and Dharam is not under our assumption x and y. So how we can find out the age of Kati and Dharam, because those ages differ by 30 years they have given. So that will be our second equation. But we don't have any idea about the age of these two persons. For that only they have given few more information. What is that? Ani's father Dharam is twice as Ani. So in the place of Dharam's age, what we can do? We can write twice the age of Ani, because Ani's father is twice as Ani. And then Biju is twice as old as his sister Kati. So in the place of Kati's age, we can write Biju is twice Kati. So Kati will be half of Biju. So Biju's age, if you divide by 2, that will give you the age of Kati. So using that, we can frame our second equation, right? So let us see how we can do this. So we have assumed let the age of Ani and Biju be x and y years respectively. Therefore, what will be our first equation? The ages of two friends Ani and Biju differ by 3 years. They told you difference only. So you can take any one. So x minus y equals to 3. So mark this as first equation. Now second, they say Ani's father Dharam is twice as Ani. So Dharam's age is equals to twice as Ani. Twice Ani. What we have assumed as Ani's age? X. So Dharam's age is 2x. Right? Then it is given Biju. Biju is equal to twice as old as his sister Kati. But we don't have any information. We didn't assume anything for the age of Kati. But Biju, we assumed it as y. So y equals to 2 times Kati. So y by 2 is the age of Kati. So now we got what is Dharam's age and what is Kati's age. Now you frame your equation. What is our second equation? The ages of Kati and Dharam differ by 30. Alright, and if you see, obviously Dharam is the father and Kati is the daughter. So obviously Dharam's age only will be bigger. So you can write 2x minus y by 2 equal to 30. Right, they differ in age by 30 years. Now take LCM. So 2 is your LCM. 4x minus y equals to 30. So 4x minus y equals to 60 is your second equation. Thus we arrived at the two equations. Now you know how to solve for x and y, right? You can go with substitution or elimination and find the age of x and y. I am not going to do it for you, right? So let us move on to the second question. Hope you understood this. Let us move on to the second question. So before we move on to the second question, I wish to tell few more things on the first question. See, this is our first equation and this is our case 1 case 1, assuming that Ani is older than Biju, because they didn't give anything about who is elder, right? We have assumed Ani's age as X and Biju's age as Y, and since it is difference, we will write the greater number only first. So it has become X minus Y. In case, this case 1 is Ani is older than Biju. So case 2, if Biju is elder, then the first equation will become y minus x is equals to 3 will become your first equation. Second equation will stay as such, because anyhow Dharam is the father, so that age only is going to be bigger. He is the father of all the three, right? So 2x minus y by 2 equal to 30. So the second equation will be 4x minus y equal to 60. Okay, so solve the second case also and find what is age of Ani and Biju. So there are two cases, right? First case we considered Ani is elder. In the second case Biju is elder. So you find what happens to the age of Ani and Biju in both the cases by solving it by substitution or elimination method, right? Now we will move on to the second question. See the second question. One says, give me 100, friend. I shall then become twice as rich as you. Other replies, if you give me 10, I shall be 6 times as rich as you. Tell me what amount of their respective capital. Right? So what can you understand from this question? There are two friends. First one says to the other, give me 100. I shall then become twice as rich as you. After you give me 100 rupees, I will become twice as you. Okay. The other one says, this will give our first equation. Then the other one says, if you give me 10, I shall be 6 times as rich as you. If you give me 10 rupees, then I will become 6 times as rich as you. So using this information, we need to find the what amount they had initially. What amount both the friends had initially. Now let us see how we can do this. So as usual, we assumed let those friends were having rupees x and y with them, right? Now let us frame our first equation. What is the first percentage? Give me 100, friend. I shall then become twice as rich as you. Twice as rich as you. So imagine now the friend x and there is another friend y. Now this y is giving 100 rupees to x. So this x rupees will become 100 and here 100 will get reduced, right? This is friend A and this is friend B. Friend B is having y rupees, friend A is having x rupees. Now initially this friend is giving 100 rupees to this friend. So 100 rupees will reduce from this amount and 100 rupees will increase in A's amount, right? Now after giving 100, what does the person says? Give me 100, I shall become, who shall become? After giving 100, I shall become, this person will become twice as rich as you. Got it? So there are two friends A and B. The person A has x rupees and the person B has y rupees. Now this friend A friend is saying, give me 100. After giving 100 rupees, immediately 100 rupees will get reduced in B's amount and 100 rupees will get increased in A amount. After giving 100, I shall become, this person only now talking. This person says, I shall become twice means 2 times as rich as you. So when you multiply the amount which you have by 2, I will be equal to that. Right? This is our first equation. So simplify it. X plus 100 equals to, again and again I am repeating, people are making mistakes with this. So when you have brackets, you have to multiply each and every term. So this will become 2y minus 200. So bring this 2y to this side and 100 to that side. So x minus 2y equals to minus 200 minus 100. So x minus 2y, 2y equals to minus 300, right, is your first equation. Now let us see how we can frame our second equation. Similarly, the two friends are there, A, B, the amount is X and here the amount is Y. Now what does the other person says? Now the other replies. Who is the other? B. B replies, give me 10. So if B is asking A to give 10. So this 10 will be added to B's amount and this 10 will get reduced in A's amount. I shall become, who shall become now? The B will become 6 times as rich as you. Hope you got it. Now B is talking, give me 10. So immediately 10 rupees will get increased in B's amount and 10 rupees will get reduced from A's amount. After that I will become 6 times rich as you. Now solve this. 6x minus 60 equal to y plus 10. So 6x minus y equal to 10 minus plus 60. If you bring this minus 60 to other side, it will become plus 60. So your equation is 6x minus y equal to 70 is your second equation. Now if you solve these two equations, you will come to know what is x and y. So those are the amounts initially both the friends had. Right? Hope you understood. Yes. So we will move on to the next question now. Now let us see the third question. A train covered a certain distance at a uniform speed. If the train would have 10 km per hour faster, it would have taken 2 hours less than the scheduled time. And if the train were slower by 10 km per hour, it would have taken 3 hours more than the scheduled time. Find the distance covered by the train. Again, it is a speed time distance related problem and they asked you to find the distance covered by the train, only the distance they asked. But since we are dealing with pair of linear equations in two variables, we need two variables, right? We cannot assume let the distance covered be x and we can't frame the equation because the information given is based on the speed and the time. Information given is based on speed and the time, but they asked you to find distance. So once you know what is the speed and time, you can very well find distance, because what is the formula for distance? Speed into time. So our assumption is going to be on the speed and the time taken, right? So let us see how we can do this. See what we have assumed. Let the speed and time taken by the train be x km per hour and y hours respectively. We know that distance covered is speed into time, right? Now let us frame our first equation. What is our first equation? It says if the train would have 10 km per hour faster, it would have taken 2 hours less than the scheduled time. So 10 km faster. So before that, to reach our distance, what is the formula? Speed into time. So what is our speed? X. What is our time? Y. Right? We need to multiply these two. But what is given? If the train would have been 10 km faster, so speed plus 10, it would have taken 2 hours less than the scheduled time to reach the destination, right? Distance covered is speed into time. The first information says that if the train would have been 10 km faster than the actual speed, so actual speed is x, faster than the actual speed, so plus 10, it would have reached the destination 2 hours less than the scheduled time, so we have reduced. Why we multiplied these two? Because the distance covered is speed into time. And here also the distance can be written as what? The distance is speed into time. So the actual distance can be reached, right? So now multiply these two. X into y is xy minus 2x plus 10y minus 20. So plus xy will get cancelled. So minus 2x plus 10y minus 20. So we can divide it by minus 2 if you want, or plus 2. So I am dividing it by minus 2. So this will become x. When you are using minus, kindly be cautious. Be conscious that every sign will change if you divide by minus. If you feel you will make mistake, don't divide by minus, divide by 2 alone. So x minus 2, if I divide, this plus will become minus 5y, this minus will become plus 10 equal to 0 is our first equation, right? Now what is the second information says, and if the train were slower by 10 kilometer, so x minus 10, it would have taken 3 hours more, so y plus 3 to reach our scheduled distance, to reach our destination. If the train were 10 kilometers slower means from the actual seat you should subtract 10, it would have taken 3 hours more than the scheduled times. Our scheduled time is y, so more than our scheduled time, so it is plus 3. It will reach our distance. Now again multiply, so this will become xy plus 3x minus 10y minus 30 equal to distance covered is speed into time. So this xy will get cancelled. Again I am going to divide throughout by 3. So it will become, we cannot divide by 3 because we are having 10y here, right? So your equation will be 3x minus 10y minus 30 equal to 0 is your second equation. Thus we arrived both the equations. Now after solving these two equations, we get values for x and y. X denotes speed and y denotes time. So that shall we wind up the problem? No, you should not, because the question is not to find your speed and time. The question is to find the distance covered. So after finding the values of x and y, what you should do? You have to multiply both the values, because the distance covered formula is speed into time. You have to multiply and then get your total distance covered, because your question is to find the distance covered only. If you leave that last part, 1 mark will be reduced. Right? So be careful, understand the question and answer to the question. Right? So let us see the next problem now. See the next question. The students of a class are made to stand in rows. If 3 students were extra in a row, would be 1 row less. If 3 students are less in a row, there would be 2 rows more. Then find the number of students in a class, right? I repeat the question. The students of a class are made to stand in rows. If 3 students are extra, in a row, it would be 1 row less. If 3 students are less in a row, there would be 2 rows more. Find the number of students in a class. This is more or less similar to the third question, so I'll give you the hint. You can solve the problem, right? What is given in the question? In the question they are saying students are made to stand in rows. In a class, students are made to stand in rows. For example, if these are the rows and the students are standing like this, right? Standing like this. Now how will you find the total number of students now? Now total number of students, how will you find out? Total number of students will be equal to number of rows into number of students, right? Number of rows into number of students. How many rows are there? 1, 2, 3. In each row, how many students are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So if you multiply 3 into 4, we will get 12. Number of rows into number of students in each row. Right? Now number of rows is 3. Number of students in each row is 4. So 3 4s are 12. So totally we got there are 12 students. Right? This content was given in the question. They asked you to find the total number of students. So our assumption is going to be as similar to the previous problem. Previous problem they asked you to find the distance. We didn't assume distance directly. What we did, we assumed the speed and the time. The same way here they asked you to find the total number of students, but we are going to assume let the number of rows be x and number of students in each row be y. Then frame your equation, because the information given is related to the number of rows and the number of students in each row. So what is the information given there? See, what is the information given there? They say if 3 students are extra in a row, would be 1 row less. If 3 students are less in a row, there would be 2 rows more. And we know now the number of rows into the number of students will give you the total number of students. So if we assume number of rows as x and number of students in each row as y, then xy will give you total number of students, right? So the total number of students is going to remain same even if the the order in which they are placed changes, right? If I make this as 2 rows and if I make instead of 4 students in a row as 3 students, even then the number of students are not going to be reduced. Number of students going to stay as such only, as we kept d same in the before problem. The distance covered is same in both the conditions, even if the speed and the time taken differs, right? The same way the number of students is going to stay same even if you change the number of rows and the number of students in each row. So by keeping this xy as stable and changing the equation, how will you change? 3 students are extra in a row, then it would be 1 row less. So number of rows we have taken it as x, so x minus 1 row will be less if 3 students are extra in a row, so y plus 3. This is our first equation. You have to simplify, multiply and cancel as usual x by xy, you will get our first equation. Second equation says if 3 students are less in a row, so which is number of students in each row? Y. So 3 students are less in a row. Less means minus. There would be 2 rows more. So x plus 2 equal to xy. Why it is equal to xy? Because the total number of students going to remain same even if we are going to change the order in the order of students made to stand in a class, right? Hope you understood. So I am leaving this problem to you. I have given you enough clues and hints for this problem. So you are going to solve this, right? Now let us see the next problem. Next question is quite easier and familiar to you. Hope you can solve by yourself. In a triangle ABC, angle C is 3 times angle B, which is equals to 2 times angle A plus angle B. Find the 3 angles. We have solved problems of this kind in our triangles chapter in our previous classes. Now they have given it in linear equations, because this can be solved by making 2 equations only, right? So here they have given the relation between all the 3 angles in a triangle. You can take any 2 angle because they have given you some equality assumptions. You can frame your equations and then we can solve. Yes. Now let us see how we can do this. So this is what given in the question. So let us take this and this now. So what will happen, because we need 2 variables, right? So I am going to take twice angle A plus angle B equal to 3 times angle B. So if you multiply twice angle A plus twice angle B equal to thrice angle B, right? Now bring this angle B to this side. So what will happen? Twice angle A plus twice angle B minus 3 times angle B equal to 0. So twice angle A plus into minus you have to subtract, so it will become minus angle B equal to 0 is your first equation. Thus we arrived at our first equation. Now how can we frame our second equation? We know that since it's a triangle, sum of all the 3 angles is 180 degree. Therefore angle A plus angle B plus angle C equals to 180 degree. But we need an equation in terms of A and B only, right? So then what will you do for C? For that you have to use this clue. Angle C is 3 times angle B. If you use this clue, we get an equation in 2 variables, right? See, angle A plus angle B plus angle C equals to 180 degree. We know this for any triangle ABC. For any triangle ABC, angle A plus angle B plus angle C is 180 degree. But angle C is 3 times angle B, which is given in the question. So plus angle B plus angle A. Now add these two, it will become angle A plus 4 times angle B equals to 180 degree. Thus we got our second equation. Now if you solve 1 and 2, you will come to know what is your angle A and what is your angle B, right? Next problem is a simpler problem only. Draw the graphs of the equations and determine the coordinates of the vertices of the triangle formed by these lines and the y-axis. So draw the graphs and then find, right, we have solved many problems of this kind. You will get a triangle and obviously this is going to be the intersecting lines. So you will get a triangle, shade that region and find the three vertices of the triangle. Graphically you have to write what are all those three vertices, right? Now let us see the next problem. Solve the following pair of linear equations. First one, px plus qy equal to p minus q, qx minus py equal to p plus q. How you will solve this? How you will solve this problem? You can go with the elimination method. Don't bother. See, these are all little bit complicated problems where you won't get the values of the unknown variable as a precise answer. I mean, here the coefficients are, again they have given it in variables, p, q they have given. So the procedure is same, but the answer you won't get it as x value is 10, y value is 5 and you won't get. You will get answers of x and y in terms of p and q only, right? So don't get confused, but the procedures are going to be same. Here the variable is x and y, the constants are p and q, that you fix up properly in your mind. Don't get confused, right? Here the variables are x and y. So when we are eliminating, what we will do? We will fix up one variable and we will try to make our coefficients same. How we can make our coefficients same? We will multiply the first equation by the coefficient of the second equation and we will multiply the second equation by the coefficient of the first equation. The same procedure you are going to undergo here, right? But as I told, you will get the equations in terms of p and q instead of numbers. So you should not get confused. I'll solve one problem for you. Let us see. The first question. Now I am fixing my favorite variable y because it is an alternative sign. What am I going to do now? Our aim is to make the coefficients the same. So I am going to multiply the first equation by p and the second equation by q. So I am going to multiply first equation by p. What will happen? P into p, it will become p square x plus, this is plus, p into q, it will become pq y, which is equals to p into p minus q. You have to be very careful with all these sorts of calculations. I am multiplying p with the constant entirely. So p into p minus q, you have to put brackets, right? Next equation I am going to multiply it by q. So this will become q square x minus q into p, pqy, which is equals to q into p plus q, right? Now what will happen? This is also pqy, this is minus pqy, so these two will get cancelled. So we are just adding, right? So this will become p square plus q square into x. It is common. So I have written p square plus q square x, which is equals to, I am going to multiply term by term. P into p square minus pq plus, since this is plus, I am not going to put brackets here. If this is going to be minus, you have to put brackets, then only you won't make any mistake, right? Multiply q into p, pq or qp plus q into q, q square. So plus pq minus pq will get cancelled. So we got p square plus q square. Here also p square plus q square into x. Therefore the value of x is p square plus q square divided by p square plus q square. Both will get cancelled. So the value of x is 1. See, the problem looked vague, but when we solved, we got a wonderful answer as x equals to 1. So how am I cancelled here? P square plus q square, p square plus q square, not like p square, q square, q square. No, you should not cancel in that way. Even now students are making mistakes of that kind even in higher classes. You have to be very careful. When you have addition sign in between, you should not cancel term wise. Then how have I cancelled here? As an entire term. As an entire term p square plus q square, I cancelled p square plus q square. Right? You should not cancel p square, q square, q square. So 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 divided by 2, 1. And kindly don't write. These are all very stupid calculations and arithmetic operations. You should not do like that, right? As an entire term, I am cancelling here. Got it. After getting the value of x, what shall we do? We will substitute in any one of the equation. So substitute x equals to 1 in first equation. What will happen? P into 1 plus qy equals to p minus q. So p plus q into y equals to p minus q. Now we need y. So qy equals to p minus q. Bring this plus p to the other side, it will become minus p. So plus p minus p will get cancelled. We have minus q. So y is equals to minus q divided by q. So your answer is y equal to minus 1. Thus we arrived at the solution. X equals to 1, y equal to minus 1. So the procedures are same, only the problem looks different. The coefficients are given as variables again. Right? Don't get confused. Proceed your problem as you will do for the previous problems. You will get the answer. Right? Hope you understood. Let us solve the next problem. So ax plus by equal to c is our first equation. Bx plus ay equal to 1 plus c is our second equation. So which variable are we going to fix? See, both x and y are positive, so no other go, you have to subtract only. So it's our wish, you can fix any variable. So I am going to fix again the variable y. So we need to multiply the first equation by a and second equation by b. So first equation I am going to multiply it by a. So it will become a into a square x plus aby equal to ac. Again and again I am repeating, many people while multiplying they will stop with this. In hurry they will forget the constant. You should not. You have to multiply throughout. Even the constant should be multiplied. Now second equation I am going to multiply it by b. So it will become b square x plus aby equals to b into 1 plus c. Be careful here. Now we need to change the sign. This will become minus, this will become minus, this also will become minus. So these two will get cancelled. Here a square minus b square into x, which is equals to ac minus b into 1 plus c. You understood? This minus b into 1 plus c. Now remove the brackets. Minus b into 1 is b, plus into minus is minus, b into c is bc. Right? Here this is a square minus b square into x. If you want, you can take common from these two. So if I take common, I will get a minus b into c minus b. Right? And here it is a square minus b square into x. Now what is the value of x? A minus b into c minus b divided by a square minus b square. This cannot be simplified further. If suppose in the numerator here also if we had a minus b, we can take a minus b as common. So in the denominator we can use a square minus b square identity, a plus b into a minus b. A minus b will get cancelled, then we can simplify. But that cannot be done here. So this will be the value for x. Now substitute this x value in any one of the equation. Now I am going to substitute the value of x in first equation. What will happen? A into, in the place of x, a minus b into c minus b divided by a square minus b square plus by equal to c. Now let us multiply and see what happens. This a should be multiplied to the numerator completely, right? I told you when you have a fraction, that number should be multiplied to the numerator only. So if you multiply, what will happen? A into a minus b into c. Term by term we need to multiply. Minus ab divided by a square minus b square plus by equal to c. Now multiply this. If you want, you can write the c this side so that you won't leave it. So I am rewriting this ac into a minus b minus ab divided by a square minus b square plus by equal to c. So if you multiply, this will become a square c minus this I have multiplied, then minus abc minus ab divided by a square minus b square plus by equal to c, right? Now what shall we can do? Now we need y alone. So keep y this side and bring this entire term to the other side. Already we have c. So c minus, put brackets, a square c minus abc minus ab divided by a square minus b square. Now we need to subtract these two. So we need to take LCM, right? So what will happen now? Take LCM. So our LCM is going to be a square minus b square. So we need to multiply a square minus b square with the c. Minus is there. So while removing brackets, what will happen? That sign will change. So minus a square c. This minus into minus, it will become plus abc. Minus into minus, it will become plus ab. Again remove this bracket, so this will become a square c minus multiplying sorry, so this become b square c minus a square c plus abc plus ab divided by a square minus b square. So plus a square c minus a square c will get cancelled. So what we have in the numerator, minus b square c plus abc plus ab divided by a square minus b square. This is by. And if you see this side we have b, and if we bring this b to the denominator, what will happen? Numerator we have b in each and every term. So we can take one b as common. If we take b as common, what will happen? This will become minus bc plus ac plus 1 divided by a square minus b square, and this is by. So this b and this b I can cancel, right? So the value of y is, we can take c as common here, or you can leave as such, no problem. If you take c as common, it will become a minus b into c plus 1 divided by a square minus b square. So this is the value of y, right? The calculations may look complicated, but if you do it slowly, you can arrive at a answer. Don't solve these problems in hurry, because it involves all variables. Even the constants are given as variables a, b, c. But you undergo the same procedure what you will do when you have number coefficients, right? Hope you understood. If you do it slowly, you can solve this problem easily, right? Now let us see the last problem. ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. Find the angles of the cyclic quadrilateral. So what property you know about a cyclic quadrilateral? We learnt in class 9. Do you remember? What does it says? The opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. So using that property only we are going to solve. See, here all the 4 angles are given in terms of x and y. Now we know some of the opposite angles are supplementary. Therefore angle A plus angle C is 180. Angle B plus angle D is 180. So you can write 4y plus 20 minus 4x is equals to 180 degree will make your first equation. The same way minus 7x plus 5 plus 3y minus 5 will give your second equation. Solve it and get the answers for x and y, right? Hope you can do this problem by your own. So you will arrive equations like this. Hope you can solve this problem, and with this we will wind up today's class. And homework is going to be the entire exercise 3.7. I have given you enough clues and hints. I have framed all the equations. So only the the solving part is left to you. So complete it, complete the entire exercise, and in the 7th question, especially 3rd, 4th and 5th subdivision, I want you to do it and do all the problems and post it in the group without fail. Okay, thank you students.